This is the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, with Erolai, Kreese, and Mark, bringing you all your Devo news and talk. Welcome to Season 4, the Ldbt era. Now let's start the show.
Hey everybody. Now, sometimes here on the Crystal Chronicles, we do make mistakes. Doesn't happen very often, but occasionally it does. Last week during our Q&A stream, great time, glad you were all there. We may have all said in response to the question, will there ever be a multi-pull for tickets? Of course not. That's a ridiculous idea. Square would never ever do that. I think it was literally the next day that JP announced that there was a 10 pull for tickets incoming, and it's already been implemented in the game since our last podcast. So we want to make a retraction. We know that sometimes we make mistakes. We're all human after all. And hopefully we'll get that feature very soon. Welcome to the show, everyone. This is episode 130 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded on this December 3rd, 2020. Shout out to Ryan is the Bomb 203 with that beautiful new mix of Blinded by the Light. I think that was Blinded by the Light, or one of those Final Fantasy 13 songs. And thank you for the bits and the subs pre-show. We always love the pre-show hype train. I'm not just joined by myself. I'm Mark, by the way. But I'm joined by my co-hosts. First, you know her and love her. It is Arrow. Arrow, how you doing?
Doing great. Been getting back into the workout routine, and it's kicking my butt, but I'm hoping to get back to where I was hopefully in a month or so.
That is a good goal. Kreese, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. Finals season is winding down, so things are starting to get back to some normalcy, which will be good.
Yeah, I've got a pretty crazy month this month, but hopefully if we can get through this month and everyone stays healthy, which has not been in a situation in my current context nor in the world, we'll have a little nice break in January. Mino is also here. I don't know if he's going to say anything. Mino, how are you doing today?
I'm here. Why? Am I
Working
supposed
on...
to be joining the
No,
show today?
I just, you were here on screen, so I figured I'd introduce you. How's the Sudoku? Did you beat that puzzle?
I'm still working on it.
Okay, well, good luck. Let us know when you do that and how many pulls it took to get all of those answers right. Until then, let's hit to the news of the day. We got early December Chocobo panel missions, so make sure you check those out. Of course, if you need any help with Chocobo panel missions, you can always go to DissidiaInfo.com. Our friend Macnell, I think he's with us tonight. And you can find all those great locations. Of course, generally, you just need to make sure that you're using those correct characters. I know Lightning, you have to do 40 for that one. So you're probably going to be using her a lot unless you're bringing other characters like the noble people around me for co-ops. You've probably already done your 40 Lightning draws. We also got Gladio's costume, of course, and that is his Kingsguard outfit, with Prompto and Noctis also have. Iggy will get his, I believe, when he gets his LD. And Lightning's first costume, which is the Knight of Etro costume, I believe that is correct, and that gem bundle is available. And Lightning's new costume, and that one is from Final Fantasy 13-3. Hey, thank you, Carlo, BR, Raining. Appreciate that. How are you? How was your stream this evening? I hope you're doing well. Hope Lightning in the raid is going well. I assume you're been playing some Defo. If not, thanks. I mean, that's great. Yeah, so tell me, I know Xeno's here. Xeno's a pretty big 13 fan. Kreese, Arrow, this is from Final Fantasy 13-3, right? This new costume?
Yes, this is from Final Fantasy 13-3.
I have no idea. I never touched 13 past the first game.
Yeah. Well, that it's a nice looking costume. Unfortunately, the sword that is represented in the costume is not available in the game. So I was hoping that would be one of her LD or BT weapons. It is not at all. So maybe her super ultra mega ultimate weapon will be that cool looking red sword. You can also get Zack's costume, which is one of the worst costumes in the game. It's so bad. I own it. I'm ashamed to say that. So, but yeah, everybody loves that sword from the picture of Lightning's costume. It's a really cool looking sword. I don't understand why that's not in the game, but so it goes. So hey, buy your costumes. There is Winter Festival packs too, and all that kind of stuff. I think the Black Friday sales are all done, so that's not a thing you can do anymore. But we did have a couple events come and go since the last time we met. And those were TCC challenges for Gao and Gladio. So the Gao TCC challenge was all friend units allowed, banning Gao, 8, Kuja, no burst phase. The extreme was orbs. What orbs? You shall not use earth damage to counter attacks to increase the orb count. So basically ignoring the mechanics of the Lufania. No friend unit, same ban list, and only Chocobo or Sylph summon Spirit Moogle, way too powerful. So congratulations to all of the folks listed. Buddy, MZ Pro, Aoden, Phoenix, Scott, Ganro, Yoshi, Pasta, Shiro, Final Asim, Clay, Excalibur, Meow, Liz Lizette. And then for the extreme, Buddy, Excalibur, Sipes, Chef Knife, Clay, Liz Lizette, and Quain, all representing the TCC Challenge. Congratulations. Well, we also had Gladio's event, and we did not have an extreme for this, but the TCC Challenge for Gladio's Lufania was banning Gladio, Gao, Kuja, Warrior of Light, and Arden, no burst phase. All friend units were allowed for this. And got to give a shout out to Scott, whether he intended to or not. Yoshi Pasta, thank you. We just shouted you out, but thank you for the subscription. Appreciate that. But yeah, Scott did it 3 times because I don't know if he intended to do that or just really enjoyed this particular challenge. So shout out to Buddy, Excalibur, Belial, our good friend Scott, Sipes, Type Next, Theologica, which I shouted out a little bit before in the pre-show. Theologica did a awesome solo run of Lightning's Raid Lufania, which we'll talk about again here. Liz Lizette, Marvin Barnes, and our own Laylee did one. Arrow, who did you use for the TCC challenge? Gladio.
Oh yeah, I used I did it before the TCC challenge was announced. I didn't know what it was, but I used Vivi, Rem, and 9.
Nice. Yes, 9 was represented very well in this challenge. Aoden, Phoenix, Werid, and then Scott, Clay, and Quain from Dystopia. And Dystopia is doing some challenges of themselves, so check out their YouTube channel if you are looking for more stuff. Nepotism, indeed. Please, everybody, Leilee. That is Arrow's YouTube channel. Check it out. I try to share those videos. But her runs are always awesome, and you will learn a lot about the game if you watch her play with some unlikely characters. So very, very good. But yeah, Vivi, we were just talking about Vivi a little bit in our Discord. Of course, join our Discord. And yeah, some mixed reviews on Vivi, but Vivi has done every Lufania. Vivi is still doing great damage, is going to come in clinch here in a couple, probably Lufanias in the future. I would say Zondes especially. You're going to see lots of Vivi. But yeah, Mino is saying he's a trap. He did get a lot of our gems and tickets, so in that case, he was a trip. But Arrow, Vivi's been treating you well. Yeah, you've been able to use him, right?
I've used him a good number of times. Yeah, the Lightning Lufania is not so kind to Vivi because of, well, we'll get into that. But yeah, I tried to make it work and couldn't quite do it myself personally. Maybe somebody else can though.
Yeah, there's there was a run in the Lightning with VV, but I think it was kind of a big stomp, like a Lightning case VV run. So kind of one of those, just go in and try to stomp it real fast. Which is going to be a little bit more challenging here in the next few Lufanias. But we'll see. Good luck to everybody there. Thank you to everybody who participated in the TCC Challenge. Keep your eyes open for the next TCC Challenge, which will be Lightning's raid event, the Tyrant event, Centurion's Reign. Now, we want to talk about this last Monday, which was the Squex Community Mobile Stream, and that's where we get Joshua and Glacy giving us all the deets for the month of DeFo, and so thankful to them, Squex Joshua and Squex Glacy, for all the work that they do. So let's talk a little bit about the things that we got, including some surprise GL First quality of life upgrades. First, we got our calendar. So we know Lightning was coming, level 80 Awakenings, Calls, Camelonauts LC, Reno's event, Heretics, which will be Sephiroth. He was even on a sticker. They're not keeping it. Sephiroth Ldbt, Dimensions End Entropy Tier 19 later this month, Kieran's event, LC Caravan of Hope, Rude's event, new character, and maybe a community stream at the end of the month, or they may take it off like they did last year and just kind of put in-game notices to what's going on in the game. So
I put the wrong tier number on the outline. It's tier 18.
Oh, tier 18. Yeah, no, we're not skipping 18 going straight to 19. No, it is tier 18. Yes, I would have known that if I would have read that as opposed to just, or thought about it as opposed to just reading it. But yeah, it will be tier 18. We just did tier 17. Tier 18, you probably will not have to worry about it too much if you've been pulling and getting some new characters. Or if you followed my advice to skip everything this month, you still probably will be fine. So don't worry about that. Go check out my Should You Pull video for this month. So we did get a update for the game, including several quality of life changes, which we want to talk about. So the first and the biggest one, I think, is you can change battle log settings so that there is no longer the Star Wars scroll of text as you start the battle. So if you are unfamiliar because you don't play the game, every time you start a battle, there's just a laundry list of credits, all of these passives going off, all of these things, debuffs, buffs, just this whole laundry list. Sometimes it takes longer to go through that than it does to actually do the fight if you're like doing mobs and stuff, daily hunt. So now you can go into your settings. You can just turn on new buffs that are required, or you can turn everything off. Arrow, any thoughts on this quality of life? I don't think anybody was asking for it, but what do you think?
I like it. I turned it on so it's just the new buffs and debuffs as they're applied, as I feel that's really useful, and I'll notice those things better on the scroll. But all that other stuff about summon passives and weapon, I don't even understand why that was a thing like to begin with. So I'm cool with it. And I also noticed while I was in the screen, I can't believe I never noticed, was that you can actually turn off HP percentages in the menu. That was something I learned. So you can turn that on or off. So for some reason,
you actually have to go, if you go to settings.
Yeah.
I should probably pull this up. So
it has a whole lot of stuff in there that I did not even know was in there.
I did not realize that either. Of course, my game's not going to be hooked in here if I do it this way. I did not realize that either, but there is a whole bunch of stuff in the settings, including, the power settings, of course. But there's like a scroll that you can go through a whole nother set of settings. And so, apparently my not going to.
So one of the things I remember was how small that setting screen used to be. Like, it was literally just the volume, and I think like connecting it to like Facebook when that was a thing, and the Google Play or Apple Store stuff. Game Center, I think, is what it's called on Apple. I don't remember.
Yeah. Yep. Reese, what are your thoughts about this quality of life update?
I need to remember to turn it on because I keep forgetting to look for it and turn it on. I am excited because the scrolling wall of battle text has been useless for so long that I just tune it out at this point. It's completely pointless with just how nonsensical it gets for the first several minutes of a fight. So I am definitely looking forward to seeing it be something we can use.
This is the
excuse me there. Let me press the wrong buttons here about four or six times as my my phone connection's not working here. I'll have to check that in after the show. But yeah, so we also got a change to the hunts, the daily hunts. If you did not realize, there's no notification if you haven't done your hunt. So now there should be a notification if you have hunts. So there's a permit count on the world map. And you can now do your daily hunts virtual or via co-op. So you don't have to solo them anymore. You might be thinking, why on earth would I do those co-op? I don't think most of us would, but if you are a newer player and those are a little bit difficult content for you, that would be something much, much easier to join us, jump in Discord, get a couple people to co-op, and you can save up 3 and just do 3 all at once then, and you're not wasting anybody's time. So, Arrow, you have any plans on doing co-op in the Cactar event? Arrow, are you with me?
I'm sorry. What did you ask me? I was just doing something real quick.
Yeah, no, I said, do you have any plans on doing co-op in the daily hunt?
I think it's fine. I mean, sometimes we just want to hang out and do something stupid for 2 seconds. So, it's nice. And I think you can do all the work permits together. So like if you have saved up 3 of them, you could just do something fun for a quick moment with your friends. If you have any in game that you like to just play with.
Yeah, Mithrin is making a good point in chat here. If you, let's say I have 3 and you have 3, we can run 6 of them co-op and do our requirements, for chocobo panels. If you need to do 5, for example, and get them done in one day, if that's something. Or if you're waited to the last minute, oh crap, I have to do these, then you could do that with a couple people and not be, so it's a nice little option. Chris, any thoughts about that?
Nothing new, nothing more to add. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, the other thing is you can now find the Sphere Refinement Shop in the item exchange. So that's available in more than one place.
Sorry, Mark. I remembered. Sorry, I forgot what I was going to say about this change because it ties back to something that someone said back when co-ops were pulled from Cactuar. I don't remember who it was. Maybe Mino said this. But someone complained that early players, like players that just started the game, used to have a lot of trouble with the Cactuar because it was actually pretty tough if you're a new player. This makes it so that someone can pull them in and help them through it now, until they get a full roster of characters to help them get through it on their own. So this helps newer players substantially. Oh, Mino says he was being sarcastic. I'm still going to run it solo. But for players that are newer and are looking for help, they can request help from friends. So sorry, I forgot that one point that I wanted to make because I did think that was a fair point to make, that the missing co-op was a barrier for newer players to get through this.
Yes, very, very true. We also did get our community reward, so I think 4,000 gems and some tickets and a few other things, so make sure you get your inbox and check that. And Crystal Level Awakenings, so I think we'll save those. Let's talk a little bit about those after we talk about the raid event, but that is a new feature in the game. The level 80 Awakenings, of course, we made a big deal about level 70 Awakening. I think level 70 Awakenings were a little bit bigger of a deal than level 80 Awakenings are. Really not much of a boost, but it does introduce call abilities, a new crystal type, and we'll talk a little bit more about our first batch, the first wave of Awakenings, when we talk about our event. But before we do, let's talk about the winter campaign. So this was announced during the Squex community stream, and we are already in the midst of it. It started yesterday, actually. What was announced, and I'll just kind of go through the list, and then Arrow and Crease, if you have comments on any of these things, we'll talk about them then. There are free multi-polls on every banner this month, so that's awesome. More free multi-polls, the better. There is a new winter hunt. and we'll cycle back to that because you may not have figured out how to access that. There is a Winter Festival sale, so more sale opportunities. There's 2 cute Moogle Winter Festival stickers in the Dissidia Point Shop. World of Illusions Carbuncle Trenders is back. There is Winter Festival Chocobo panels, I think at least 2 for this month. Daily mission rewards are triple, which is actually does add up. I think it adds up to a considerable amount of gems, actually, 900 gems a day. So that's quite a few gems over the month if you log in every single day. So good reason to do that. And double Psycho Quest rewards. So if for some reason you don't have crystals, like hundreds of crystals in your, or thousands of crystals in your inbox, then get some crystals or some gold. That works for that as well. Arrow. Thoughts about the winter campaign? Have you done your winter hunts? What have you thought about that so far?
The winter hunt's really easy. You have to buy those little permits, I think, from the Dissidia Points shop.
That is correct.
So I already did my 3. I find it really fast. I have a pretty good team for doing it in like 30 seconds, it feels like. I always like free pulls. I'm excited because I was planning already to pity for Kieran this month. So worst case scenario now, I only have to use 70k gems instead of 75k, which is always appreciated. So if you're planning to pull for any characters this month, you saved yourself at least 5k gems on that banner. Always appreciated. That's another pull for somewhere else.
I agree. I've sworn off using gems because I was afraid that I would become poor, like so many people out there. So just tickets until I reach as many as Soul Defo has. So shout out to our good friend Soul Defo, big Lightning fan. So, when I get as many gems as he has, then maybe I'll pull again, but we'll see. Kreese, thoughts on the Winter Festival? I know you've been catching up to content, so.
I am happy with the Winter Festival. I have no problems with it. It seems like they basically pulled the way they used to do the turned it into a special thing with the hunts instead, which I don't really have a problem with. It seems like an interesting spin on it. So I'm interested in trying it out. The difference here is that you have to spend 1,500 Dissidia points a week to stay on top of it, which isn't a huge feat.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy to stay on top of that.
There has been, especially because we get daily rewards, triple daily rewards. So we're gonna have plenty of Dissidia points.
2 new winter animated stickers, so I am happy with that.
Yeah, the new stickers I like a lot. But yeah, there has been some confusion about this new winter hunt. So you actually need to go into the Dissidia shop and buy permits. You can buy 3 a week, so they'll reset every week. They're 500 Dissidia points each, so that is 1,500 Dissidia points. And then you can just bang them out. You get 10 of the special items for each one, so 30 a week. And the shop, if I can pull up the shop here, it's a different shop? You have to actually go.
It's a different shop for
Winter
the
Exchange. So the shop, the Winter Exchange, Winter Hunt, has 2 power tokens, 1 power stone, looks like 300 gems, 20 tickets, 20 armor tokens. That's what I'm talking about. 6 chocobo feathers. I don't know how anybody needs chocobo feathers. And then these special items, the Icicle Pop, the Roast Cockatrice, and the Sparkling Azure, and they are 15-minute double XP, double gil, double items. So if you need some extra free double books, these are basically that. So you can bank up on those if you would really like to. I don't think that's going to be my priority. I think it's cool that they're in there, but I'm sitting at a whole bunch of 2 times books anyway, and I don't usually use them if I don't have to. But yeah, I'm definitely picking up those armor tokens. So, and that power stone. I'm at 22 power stones, so that power stone's going to come in handy too. So, how Riku, you don't know how anybody needs power. There's an armor token shortage. We have to get as many armor tokens. That's how you win Defo. 5,000 armor tokens. The first person to 5,000 armor tokens wins. So sell your LDs. Yeah, see, Sam's calling me out. He says if I sold my LDs, then I'd have more power stones. He's right, but I'm not going to sell them Because if I sell, this is a very poignant conversation. If I sell my LDs, how am I going to know who has an LD? Think about it for a second. How am I going to know which characters have an LD? I'd have to go to every single character, look in their skills or their passives to make sure they have an LD or not. I, wouldn't have any idea. Yeah, Mino's saying OO Tracker. Yeah, check out OO Tracker. Those of you, it's a great resource. But I don't know. That takes a long time for me to check a website. So easier just to go into my inventory and see, oh yeah, that's who I have LDs for. And you said just remember. Yeah, that's never going to happen for me. But yeah, so Winter Festival's up for the rest of the month. So that will be good. So get up on what you can and enjoy that while it lasts. Well, the big event today is the raid event Centurion's Reign, which brings back the Tyrant from Final Fantasy XIII and introduced Lightning's LD and Burst weapon. So, Kreese, are you going to take us through what Lightning got in her LD and Burst?
Sure, it's actually pretty straightforward because Lightning didn't get any rework. Her base kit's still the same. The only thing she got was an LD and a BT weapon. So it's pretty simple. The way Lightning works hasn't changed. It's just that now she has some nice new gimmicks to go with the rest of her kit. So her LD ability is Crushing Blow. She gets 4 uses of it. The ability she gets from using her, before I go through what the ability itself does, let me go through what the passive she gets from it is. The passive she gets after using Crushing Blow is called Savior of Souls, which increases all HP damage she deals and increases Stolen Brave overflow while it is active by 20%. It also gives the party Brave regen and increases party Brave damage dealt versus broken targets. So it's a pretty nice passive when she wants to keep it active as long as possible. While it has a 14-turn duration, remember that Lightning is fast. She takes a lot of turns, and she also has she also gets free turns when she breaks targets, as long as she has her EX buff ups, Knight of Etro. So remember that. She's going to be taking a lot of turns. So what does Crushing Blow do? It is an AoE Unbreak ability that does 2 AoE Brave plus single target HP attacks. And then following that, for the next 2 turns that she takes, all abilities are instant turn rate, have no turn count, and are free ability uses. So basically, she gets 2 turns to do free abilities, which is pretty nice for her. She likes taking free turns. So keep that in mind. It also applies Thunder Resist Down, so now she has 2 ways to apply Thunder Resist Down, and this applies it to all targets, so she can refresh it on the whole enemy party. She doesn't have to do it one by one, which was the problem with Army of One. This is nice. It just makes Lightning do a lot more damage on a turn-by-turn basis because of the HP damage amplification. It's a pretty nice buff. It also gives her some more party utility with the Brave Regen and Brave Damage increase against broken targets. Her burst ability is Gestalt Drive. It's a pretty nice big single-target burst attack. Brave plus HP executed twice. The burst effect is 10 turns, but again, remember, Lightning takes a lot of turns, so it won't last as long as you can imagine. Effects that are active while the Gestalt burst effect is active. Increases Brave damage by 50%, increases Stolen Brave overflow by 30%, increases Brave damage further versus broken targets by 30%, increases HP damage versus broken targets by 20%, and increases the Brave damage limit by 20%. So a pretty nice big perk. Lightning's job is when the burst effect is active, your whole party is doing more damage versus broken targets, which makes sense because that's what Lightning is. Remember also that because of the awakenings, Lightning does get a call ability, and I think her call ability is her Spark Strike. That's the only notable thing about it. I believe the call ability gives the person who calls it an attack bonus for a couple turns. I don't remember exactly. I haven't had a chance to use it myself because I've been running Lightning in the party the whole time.
Lightning's call ability is Spark Strike. Moderately raises
Brave Regen. It gives them
yes.
Brave Regen for 6 turns.
Grants Brave Regen to the character for 6 turns.
Okay.
Correct. But it is.
So yeah, I mean,
Spark
it's a
Strike.
nice call ability. I'm probably not going to mention all the call abilities going forward.
Yeah, we'll go over them later, maybe.
Spark Strike's okay. It's better than no call ability.
It's like, I mean, right? It's a free attack, basically. So
it's an extra ability.
I mean, at this point, you can think of these call abilities kind of like an extra AA, right? I mean, that's kind of what they do. They give you a little buff. They maybe have an attack. I mean, later on, they become like super important. They're not there yet. Yeah, they're saying LD calls come later. We're not at LD calls yet. We will get there soon.
Yeah, we're at base ability calls, so they're nice little perks. Again, there's no reason not to equip a call ability if you can. If you can't, it's a small perk that you're missing. But as we get more level 80 characters, they'll go get more bonuses. So again, Lightning is still the same character she always was. She's just a little stronger at what she does. She does a little bit more damage. She's able to take even more turns. Mino and let's see, do we have? I don't know if we have Black Cloud tonight. I don't know how much she held up in JP. She still does what she did, what she always did. She's strong, single target, but she wants to she wants to break targets. So you want to make sure you're pairing her with characters who aren't going to be taking as many turns as her. Make sure characters aren't going to be shaving as hard as her, so she can shave as frequently. Mino's saying dead after 2 weeks energy.
I don't think
I don't think he's exaggerating.
Shout out to Capiche. I think that's how I'm going to say it, at least. Correct me if I'm wrong, for the tier 1 sub. Thank you very much for the support. But yes, she has some lasting power in terms of damage dealing.
Pearson is asking quickly while we've talked about level 80s. Pearson, we get enough of the new crystal type that you can Crystal Strength 80 everyone in an Awakening wave, so there's no reason not to.
We'll probably say that again, but yeah, it bears repeating a couple times. We will have enough resources, enough of the new crystals to level 80 everyone, so it shouldn't be an issue. Now, 2 weeks from now, when we don't have enough resources, then you can come back and say, hey, you guys said we had enough resources. But I have leveled 80. I have level 80 to everyone. And I think all of you, if you've been listening for any amount of time, know that I do not generally jump into things like that too hastily. So I feel like we're going to be getting plenty of those resources. So I have level 80 to all of them. And then, they get to use call abilities, and you get their call abilities. So it's kind of a win-win for that.
So another reason to raise everyone to crystal level 80 and level them to 80 is it improves, or at least to raise them to crystal level 80. I'm not sure if I think you want to raise them to level 82. It does improve the call ability strength.
Yeah.
Because it's based on the character who you're calling from. So improving that character makes the call ability you're using better.
Yeah,
so
you want
you do get a call ability extension at Crystal Strength 80.
Yeah, you definitely want your the calls that you use. You want to be on characters that are fully built up, and that's going to be true going forward into the LD era.
Again, there's a point where we are getting enough of the high clusters that we can raise everyone to 80. This is not like 60 and 70 awakenings.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, no, and that was not clear, but it is, at least from the experience of Japanese default players. It has been the case. They've not run out of those crystals, and if you do all of them at 80, you'll have a couple extra. So, it's not going to be an issue.
And I guess the other point to make about Lightning is that you have to be very careful about using her in parties because she is a turn thief. Because of the way her high turn rate works, it only works if she hits a broken target. She can appear to jump turns because it doesn't activate on her base abilities unless she's hitting a broken target, which means when you press the little button to see where her turn will jump, it doesn't show correctly if she's hitting a broken target. So keep that in mind. it's a characteristic for how lightning works. Everyone should know about it, but if you're not familiar with lightning, you won't get used to that until you've played with her for a bit. So lightning is quirky in that way. You got to get familiar with her tempo for switching between Commando and Ravager. You got to get used to the timing of when to activate Army of One to get the most turn delay. You got to figure out when you want to reactivate Crushing Blow to maintain Savior of Souls and get the free ability uses and at free turns. So again, there's a lot of nuance for her. She's a strong single target damage dealer. She's nowhere near useful in multi-target situations because, again, she only does single target damage. So keep that in mind. She seems to be pretty solid right now. We'll see how people feel about her once the synergy bias is gone. Arrow, what are your thoughts?
The LD is very good. The instant break on demand is very cool, and she has 4 uses of it. Now, there's other characters, Strago has that same thing, but Lightning does it in her own unique way, and it's very cool. And you guys will see very much how useful instant breaks are going to be in certain fights. Another thing is even in content where Thunder Absorb is a thing, I've seen people carry her through, and she puts out some crazy amounts of damage anyway. So it's really funny to think about. But I don't think Lightning is very simple to play when you're putting her in certain content. And I swear there's people who do some big brain stuff with her. And there just seems to be like no set rotation for how to play Lightning. It's just like, I'm sorry, that's not for me. And also, I'm not a fan of Lightning as a character, so I did not pull her. I'm going to preface with that. And honestly, I don't know how many people are going to use her after like this month. It's kind of like it's just hard to say because there's a lot of complexities to really get the most out of Lightning in all of her different like situations where she will, do things. I guess I don't know how to put it better than that. And honestly, I think Arden might be a little easier to play when thought about in that way because he's kind of that high damage dealer. But I don't know. You just don't have to think as hard. And I'm just thinking from the average player's perspective here, not necessarily like the hardcore player. I don't. When you look in co-op, even though I don't play Lightning personally, I don't feel like they're necessarily always using her optimally. So there's some things to consider. Like if you don't want to think a lot, then this character might not be for you after her 2 week synergy. Just something to keep in mind. The other thing I don't like personally is in co-op how many turns she gets because people like to just sit forever before they make their next move. And honestly, I don't know what to say to that. So I can't wait till she is not very optimal to use again because I'm already sick of her in co-op again. And I think I've had this problem every time she's gotten a tuning pass. I've complained about this. But if you are going to play a character that turn steals like this, don't take 20 seconds or more between each of your skills. That gets really sick really fast. Okay? Oh, yeah. And it wastes books so hard. That's all I'm gonna leave it with that. I'm gonna pass it to the next person. Mark?
Yeah, a couple things here. Inkwelder is saying she is a top pick for Entropy 20. So, I mean, again, Soul is going to be using her for a long time. So if you want to figure out how to keep, get your mileage out of Lightning, check out Soul Defo because I'm sure Soul will be using her. And the Call to Arms, of course, DissidiaFFOO.com. First of all, there was a change. I think, let me go back to her old EX Plus infographic. Of course, TonberryTroupe.com has a wonderful infographic. Now, there was some talk with her artifacts, I think, in the EX Plus era that, I Brave was good because she does get a Brave regen passive, regular buff, not a passive, but just a unframed generic buff. And so I Brave helped that. But she does with her LD, her Savior of the Souls little crystal, she gets a Party Brave regen that's 20% of Max Brave. So really Max Brave is kind of the secondary. Of course, TAC 108 is the primary goal. But secondary is really Max Brave 330. You might want to play around with it. I have both. I have Attack 108 330 and Attack 108 170s. just to kind of play with them, depending on the kind of content or the kind of teams you're building around her. If you're really focusing on iBrave, you might want to have the iBraves up. But the Max Brave, and I've been using Brothers with her, and yeah, I mean, you want to pump that Max Brave up for that party regen is really nice. So a little bit of change there. Evil Kong was asking, what's the best burst rotation? And I'm not really sure that there's a good rotation, and I've heard lots of different. Let's just be honest, from playing co-op, there's no set rotation for playing Lightning. This Lightning's not going to have an infographic like Alizé did. That the Tonberry Troupe did that awesome infographic for Alizé with here's like some paths for her. Lightning, Jin Lee back in EX Plus era, our friend Jin Lee did a wonderful how to play Lightning. It's still up. You can see it on his YouTube. I think he referred to playing Lightning as poetry, that it's a very, kind of turn by turn, kind of understanding what you need to do, when you need to do it. And she kind of plays, really, really nice. So, Ink, is this your recommendation for burst? Go in with the free skill on Lightning, skill 1 EX, skill 1 Ldbt. The reason you would do that is her skill 1, because of that regen, is doing a little bit more damage than skill 2. Skill 2 does a little bit more brave shave. So you go in with a free turn, so after an EX, for example, or after her LD, then you get an extra use of the skill 1, then you EX, do another use of the skill 1, then your third use of the skill 1, then you do the LD before the BT, because then you'll get another action right after the BT, as that's how the LD works as well. So, yeah, like Mithrin says, she's like poetry, so confusing and no one truly understands it. Yeah, I think that's fair. Mino is saying like it's jazz, you make it up as you go, never do the same thing. But yes, I think that is a good EX rotation. Or a burst rotation. I do not have her burst. So, skill 1, go with a free skill 1 EX, skill 1 Ldbt. That should do your good damage. We're looking forward to Jin doing a new updated video of Lightning. But yeah, if you watch 100, we shouted Theologica did a solo run with this Lufania. Vane Novus did a 7-turn Lufania with this. Soul Defo, again, great player. Lightning's his favorite character, so he plays her really well. Jin Lee plays her really well. So there are some people you could watch to kind of get a sense of how to do it. I like to cycle between the two skills just to keep the buffs up for her. But yeah, really focus on skill 1 after the LDs. I always, almost especially on single target bosses, but probably on two enemies too, always do the free AA after the EX, just to get that unbreak and rebreak and free turn, and it just delays the bosses even more. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to mention. Somebody said there was some confusion about whether Lightning instant breaks. No, she unbreaks the target, so sets their brave to 0, and then she can always break it unless there's some kind of mechanic that would not allow the boss to be broken. So yeah, she unbreaks. But if the boss can't be broken, it wouldn't be broken in the first place, so you couldn't unbreak it. Is that all I wanted to say? I like her a lot. I have her. I pulled for her LD. I had her EX33 Realize. I bought her armor. Again, she's a damage dealer. She has the good damage dealing armor. You want her armor. It's her Lufania armor, her purple armor. Very, very good. I have a couple refined orbs on her. I think her orb, Raigen's orb, both good orbs for her, or spheres, excuse me. Got a lot of different things now in this game. But yeah, I like her. I think she's going to be good. I'm glad I didn't spend a lot on her. And I hope you didn't either, but I know as we go to the podcast polls, and maybe that's a good time to transition. Oh boy. A lot of people, and this is just the podcast polls. Again, you can go onto our Discord or any Discord, Defo Discord. Quetzalma of MateriaBot fame, he does this for us. Check him out on Patreon, support him, the good work he does. MateriaBot's such a great resource for our community. But across 11 servers, so 11 Defo servers or 11 servers that have Defo players, 20 people were going to pity the burst on this banner, on one of these two banners, 20 people burst pity. I don't think we've ever seen a higher burst pity than that. And I know just from talking to people on our Discord, seeing things on Facebook and Twitter, a lot of people pitied the burst weapon. I'll go through the rest of them, but we need to come back to that. About 50, we're going to pity, I'm looking over the two banners, 50, we're going to pity the LD, which makes sense. 30 just using gems, about 180 using tickets, and about 150 skipping. So those are kind of the breakdowns. A lot of people pulling. Of course, it's a 2-week synergy character. It's a very favorite, but yeah, 20. Final ASIM doing the math. 2.5 million gems. If everybody pitied the 125,000, that'd be 120,000 because you get the free pull. And still, we have some people with more gems than that. I don't know that we have 2.5 million, but we definitely have people in the 2 million range. So, but yeah, pity BT on the initial banner is like shitting your pants. Inkwelder says you couldn't just wait. Sometimes you got to go. I mean, we're all adults here. Sometimes you shit your pants. That's how it happens. Arrow, I know. I don't know where this is going. That's Inkwelder of the Tonberry Troupe. You can check him out on YouTube. I would not. We've got 2 more banners with Lightning's BT. Camelot, Reno. You may not be excited about either of the characters. Probably don't need to pull on either of those characters, although probably a lot of people are going to go back into Reno once they fight that fight. We'll see. You do have options, probably, if you've been pulling all along, so you don't need to pull on it, but it would make it easier. 2 free pulls, though. That's the thing that's really, even if you weren't going in on either of those banners, like, why not try to get another LD? I mean, more LDs the merrier, right? Why not even try to do the 2 pulls? Arrow, what are your thoughts? I mean, 20 people that we know of. There's a lot more than that, obviously. 20 people willing to pity on this, the first banner of the cycle. Any thoughts about that?
I mean, sure, but I'm actually more surprised by the number that said they'd skip. That's a big, surprising amount of people. You said 125? I mean, I was honestly expecting like everybody and their mom to be pulling on this banner.
About 141, I think, exactly.
Oh, 141. So it's even more.
Yeah. Well, they watched my should you pull video. So they.
Okay, yeah, that's true. So I don't know. I'm just really surprised. It's just, I don't understand though why you'd want to necessarily pity the BT right here, because again, you could come back to this banner even after Reno comes out, and if you don't get it on the free pulls. But some people, they get really excited. This is their absolute favorite character. Maybe they just didn't want to wait, and I understand that. So hopefully, though, you don't wind up getting that BT, because that would feel kind of bad. I feel kind of bad for that person.
I mean, the worst case scenario is it is 5 burst tokens, but and there are probably people that have already used their burst tokens, right? And not waited for the 2. That would be the worst. I mean, I think it's probably better to pity the burst and then get a free burst on one of the free multis, although that's not a great use of resources either. But to use your burst tokens and then to get a free, that's a terrible return, right? Because you're spending 50 when you are only getting back 5. Kreese, any thoughts on that?
This banner wasn't great for me, so I don't know.
You
after the Ardent fiasco, but this was pretty bad for me.
Yeah. And it was bad for a lot of people, because I did see a lot of people pity. Actually, I mean, those were the podcast polls is I'm willing to pity, but in just conversations and people on our Discord and stuff, a lot of people did actually pity. So I hope you didn't. I don't think you should feel bad if you did. I mean, it's your if it's your favorite character, it's your favorite character.
People are asking what happened. So I went into this planning to ticket pull Lightning's LD, because I was almost capped on tickets again, and I still had to collect tickets from the HaateXIII summon boards. I spent I went to 750 tickets, did not get the LD, got the BT on the way, and said, okay, I've spent enough. I might as well switch to gems, and went to 300G tokens, got another BT on the way, did not get the LD. So I had to pity the LD.
Yeah. You just gotta keep going with the gems till you're at 0. That's my plan.
What I decided, Mino,
That's
was
not
that I
bad.
realized at that point was I was going to pity it, and I might as well just save tickets at that point. Might as well save the 350 tickets I still had left, because I knew I was going to be pitying either way.
Yeah, it's hard. That's why I have, been using gems on things I've wanted. Because tickets aren't a guarantee. We've all been there. We've all experienced that. Those of us who've, done that. So, yeah.
DFFVL's asking about free polls. Free polls all month, so all the way through the Rude banner, yeah.
Yeah, Riku. Yeah, and check out DFOVL does some great videos too on YouTube. So, but yeah, Riku's saying I'm adopting Mithrin strategy, just go to 0. So yeah, that's my plan. My plan is I started this month, December, with 1,850 tickets. So I am planning to go to 0. So, but so I'm not going to use gems until I hit 0 tickets. There you go. That's my plan. I've said it on the podcast. I will keep you updated. Unfortunately for Kreese and all of you who had to pity, Lightning did not take that many tickets. So I'm still at about 1,850 tickets. It's not. I didn't get the burst on the. Well, I didn't get the burst, but I didn't get the burst in the LD on the free pull like several people in our Discord posted. And good for you. Congratulations. That's exciting. I hope to see that one day for myself, actually. So. Oh yeah, we have a special Discord role to anyone they can show they've gone to 0 gems. It is an exceptional achievement to hit exactly 0 gems. So, congratulations to those of you who are at 0 gems. That is quite an achievement. Yeah. Well, there's a few other things in this, and we talked about it a little bit, but let's just come back to it. This is our first wave of level 80 awakenings. Moving forward, every time we have a new Ldbt character, so Lightning, and then in the middle of the month, Sephiroth, there will be an awakening wave. So about 2 awakening waves a month, 6 characters will get their level 80s. On subsequent banners, so lost chapters and event characters, new event characters, there will not be every character, I believe, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but only the event character or the LC character will get level 80. So for Camlinaut's event, I don't have my spreadsheet up. For Camlinaut's event, it will only be Camlinaut. For Reno's event, it will only be Reno. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is the impression that I was given. Those other characters will not get their level 80 awakenings at this time. I don't know that for 100% fact, but I believe that's what I've heard from every LD. So everybody with it's every character other than the featured. It's not every character other than the featured character. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Mino's trolling me. That's why you got to read his thing. So, but Cam will be level 80. Yes, Cam will come at level 80. Reno will be level 80. Karen will be level 80. Rude will be level 80. And then everybody on Sephiroth's banner, I think Sephiroth, Snow, Zaz, Jet, Galuf, Iggy will all be level 80. So, yeah. No, Sephiroth is not going to get his LD boards. we went through that with Squall. Of course, Sephiroth just got his LD boards in the Japanese version of the game, and he's awesome because of it, or awesomer because of it. He will not come to us with his LD boards. Squall did not come to us with his LD boards, but the good news is we will get that eventually, and those characters will be better than they were the first time even, which is kind of cool. So I'm glad those old characters can come back and be useful. So the characters for this particular level 80 awakening were Lightning, Penelo, Ragin, Vincent, Zach, and Edge. Besides challenge quests, I'm not sure you're going to be maining any of these characters, and level 80 really doesn't add a whole heck of a lot besides the call abilities, and that's the big ability. There's been some questions about how you equip
stat
them.
Boosts.
Yeah, a little bit of stat boost, but not anything like, life-changing. It's not like you suddenly don't want to use any. Level 80 isn't like you don't want to use any level 60 characters anymore, or level 70 characters anymore, excuse me. Your level 70 LD characters are going to still work fine here for quite some time, depending on who they are. And it's not like just because a character's level 80, they're going to be useful. Like Vincent, for example, is still not real good. Ragin still got some use. Edge still has some use. Even Zach's got some use. And Penelo's kind of been pulling her weight. But yeah, Vincent kind of got the short end of the stick. But they have call abilities. Regen Waltz for Penelo. Fist for Ragin. Deadly Flare for Vincent. Chain Slash for Zach, so you can lock somebody with Zach. And Smoke for Edge, so you can evade, which is kind of cool. So I think those are all skill 1s. So basically that's their skill 1 ability. They jump in, they do that, and then you might get a little buff depending on who you brought in. So, yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's going to get better because we're going to get more. But you have to have a character at level 80 to unlock the ability to equip a call. Then
75.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You have to be level 75 to equip the call. Then you have to be, the same to get the call. But you cannot bring the same call for a character that's in your party. So if you have Lightning, or let's say you have Vincent, Ragin, and Edge, Edge cannot equip Vincent's call. Ragin cannot equip Edge's call, for example. Has to be complete 6 unique characters. So right now that's not a lot of options. You basically have 6 characters you can use for the challenge quest, for example. But yeah, Arrow, any initial impressions of call abilities in level 80?
I really like call abilities because I think it's going to over time add an extra layer to characters. Like the Zach call, for example, does a taunt, so that's kind of cool for somebody like 8 who, some enemies will go really fast. They're gonna run that lockdown real fast, and he's still got the counter ability ready to go from his LD, and now you've got a little bit more extension to utilize it. Or like Penelo's call will be very useful for a couple of challenge quests where maybe you don't want to bring Alexander for some reason, maybe, or you just need some heals. Like there she is. She can do a call to heal your party, for several turns. I think that's really cool. I like it. There's gonna be better calls probably over time. Some of these characters right now are just kind of mundane. There's not much to do with them, but I mean, as we get more characters unlocked, I'm sure there'll be more opportunities for really interesting combinations to appear.
Yeah, just to clarify, Arrow, 8 is not level 80, so you cannot equip Zach's call on him.
That's true. But once he gets that level 80,
someday,
be cool. So
someday with
like
his
that.
LD boards, when he gets his LD boards.
But there is an LC coming this month, Kieran's Lost Chapter, and he does not have a healer for the Lost Chapter. So you could bring Penelo's call for Kieran, for example, then, and you could just at least now have a healer outside of Alexander's summon. So they like to HP attack a lot. So maybe you're gonna want both. Maybe you only need one of them. I don't know. People are weird. They can make a lot of crazy stuff happen. But yeah, I think it'll be really neat seeing what people come up with over time as characters gain more options. And then there's that whole foresight thing. We know that later people will get LD calls as well added on top of that. So it's just like, man, you could probably make some really fun combinations of stuff eventually. I can't wait to see what people do with it.
Kreese, what are your initial thoughts on the level 80 awakenings and call abilities?
I generally agree with Arrow. I think Penelo's going to be the call ability winner of the first batch, just because her call ability is probably the best out of them. Excuse me. It's probably the most flexible and most useful out of them. You can stick her call ability in just about any character, and it will find use, because hers can be used as a niche heal in the situation where you can't bring like a full-time healer. It'll be very useful, I believe. Obviously, Zax, I think, will be number 2 because you can use it as a backup taunt in cases where you might need a backup taunter to draw aggro away from other characters. It'll definitely be helpful there. The others are kind of like, they're like abilities you might find to be useful in a couple cases, but they're nothing like super amazing.
Yeah, you can imagine, given the LD calls that we're going to get in a little bit, how challenge quests become quite a bit more easy when you can customize your team a little bit, especially with some LD calls, depending on whether those characters are level 8 or you're not. But gives you a little bit more freedom and wiggle room, and challenge quests are already getting a little bit more easy for us, right? As power creep jumps in, but that will be a nice option, like you guys said with Pinello. Well, we also have a raid event, and that has individual missions and global missions, so we have to fight this tyrant a lot. And bring your Vincent, and have we already done Edge? I think Edge has been completed, so we may still need Vincent runs. I've been running Vincent in this. Arrow, how's your co-op grind going, and any advice for Lightning players?
Please don't take 20 plus seconds, Lightning players. You are going to take almost all the turns to kill it. Please be quick. I don't even care if you aren't optimal. Just be quick. Because I swear I've done books and I'll do maybe 2 random co-ops, and I'm used to doing 3 or 4. And it's because Lightning players are taking so long in between choices. It's just getting old really fast. I've been taking Vincent because I do have a 0-3 Vincent, and he's okay. He makes it through the fight, no problem. Even though he's just stealing turns left and right, it doesn't matter. You use that Pinello call if you run low on skill.
Arrow. No. Yeah, we found a trick for that. You have to unequip all of his speed passives.
Well, I don't really care because I'm doing it's 70k I think with each shot, so it's not terrible damage or anything. Even at 0-3, which is kind of cool. So that's synergy stats for you. But yeah, otherwise I just use that Pinello call, and maybe that lightning will burst shortly after and get a big nice round of regen on top of that. So. Well, that's all I've been doing.
As the raid is progressing, we have beaten the boss globally 49 of 50 times, but we still need a lot more Vincent runs. So Arrow and I alone cannot do it. Our 5 runs a day is not cutting it. So if you got Vincent, even your 15 CP only Vincent, just bring him. I mean, who cares? If there's 2 lightnings in the party, he's not going to act anyway. So, go to town. Yeah, good old Vincent. Yeah, just do skill 2 over and over again. No, do both the skills, because if the lightnings aren't good and the boss actually does hit you, if you use both your skill 1 and skill 2, and if you get the EX off, which I have multiple times, which is ridiculous. I shouldn't have even acted with 2 lightnings in the party. Yeah, but the boss won't do any damage, so that's nice. Kreese, how's the co-op grind going?
I am behind on it. I think I've been mentioning it in some of the chats, more private chats on the server, but I have been way distracted with WoW because the new expansion just came out, so I am way behind on content. I just cleared Gladio and Gao Lufanias today, so I've done a few co-ops. I've been running them solo because I have a bunch of synergy fully maxed for this. I think I'm maybe at 1 million HP damage dealt, personally. So yeah, I am way behind on getting co-op grind done. I'll let you know in a few more days where I'm at.
Sounds good. Xeno, TXB Gaming, check them out on YouTube and Twitch. If you ever run into a toxic lightning in co-op that troll on purpose and are using light yourself, spam AA and brave attacks on the sword, and make sure to BT at the end and only use brave attacks on the sword too. Yeah, that's good. Come on, people. Remember, when we're in co-op, we're working together. It's nice. Yoshi Pasta said his Vincent will be helpful. Yeah, all the Vincents we need. It doesn't even matter. Just one level 1 crystal strength, 1 Vincent, no gear. Just bring him. We just need Vincent runs at this point. But yeah, listen, all you lightning players. Yeah, burst first turn. Burn through your LDs. I don't want to play. If I'm bringing Vincent or Ragin, I don't want to play. If I wanted to play, I would bring Lightning. I've got Lightning. Everybody's got Lightning, right? 20 people pitied her burst. I think people have Lightning. I'm bringing Vincent to help us out. You do the work. And it annoys me when, like, I put my phone down. I'm, like, helping the kids with school. Like, we're doing remote learning right now, right? Like, washing dishes, doing something. Like, I'm not playing the game. And then you're getting pissed at me because I have a turn. I shouldn't have a turn. That shouldn't be a thing that happens. I'll wait, like, the first few turns just to make sure I don't get a turn. And, you know, if I do, I'll do the lightning thing and give you some extra boost there. But seriously, folks, you know, I don't need to play. That's what I want you to know. I don't feel bad. I don't know why people get upset about, like, oh, I want to. No, you don't want to play in co-op. Nobody wants to play in co-op. It's just a thing you do. It's like chores. You know, it's like mopping the floor. You know, you got to mop the floor so mice don't get in the house, right? Come on, people. They're the unturned internships, unpaid. Hey, speaking of unpaid internships, if anybody's looking for some work references and wants an unpaid internship at the Crystal Chronicles, we don't pay anything, but good references and experience. So, you know, email us your resume. Looking for some people to do, you know, run our Patreon, do our social media campaigns. So, you know, let us know if that's something you're interested in. Oh, hey, well, there's content besides this. And it's a Chaos Challenge Quest and a Lufania. Arrow, you want to talk a little bit about the Chaos Challenge Quest? I know you you have done all of these. Before we talk about the Lufania, anything you want to say about the just Chaos or Challenge Quest?
Yeah, it's not a bad challenge quest. I did Zach, Pinello, and that Vincent.
Yeah.
And that 03. And honestly, it was just kind of paying attention to skill uses with Vincent. I never felt any danger because, I mean, the tag down was just so massive. I think, like, the boss was hitting, like, peanuts, even with the recharge skill would be up. So that was cool. I don't really think you need lightning for this one, but you're going to need 2 purple characters probably to beat it in the, I think it's like a generous 110 turns for the challenge quest. Jeez. If only it were something like that for the Lufania too, that make it a little more tolerable.
Yeah, that would make the Lufania a lot easier. Well, Mino and Zeno are doing, and I just realized yesterday that rhymes, so they may be the same person. I don't know. Mino and Zeno, they are doing a challenge quest battle. They're using Pinello Lightning with her Ldbt and Zach, all fully purple, to see who gets the least number of turns. Mino is currently at 31, so check out Zeno the next time he streams. Let's see how many turns he gets. But actually, looking at the call to arms, again, DissidiaFFOO.com, Macnell, our friend, puts these wonderful things together. And if you have videos, take a video, save it on your phone, submit it to DissidiaInfo.com so that we have a lot of information. It's good information for us to have. This is actually really generous CQ. There's a lot of different comps. I think more than a lot of other CQs. Obviously, Lightning. If you have Lightning, you can pretty much bring Lightning and anybody, including a Lightning LD, Ragin EX only, Vincent EX only, not even realized, just regular EXs. Because Lightning can solo the Chaos and Lufania. So she can definitely do that. Well, she can solo the Lufania, but you get a friend, right? So Lightning can do this well with 2 other people supporting her. So that's, in 66 turns. That was a 66 turn run. But there are non-Lightning runs. There's a Lightning just realized run with Pinello just realized and Zach. So that's an option. Pinello EX 2 out of 3. Zach fully realized, Ragin EX 2 out of 3. I don't know who's running these 2 out of 3
I mean,
characters.
there's a solo Lightning.
No, but not
Lufania.
Yeah, no, just for the challenge quest. You have to bring 3 characters for the challenge quest,
For
right?
the challenge quest. Sorry, I didn't realize we were talking about the challenge quest.
But yeah, I was trying to see some of the other non-Lightning ones.
Vincent, Zach, Raijin.
Yeah, Vincent, Zach, Raijin. That's Yoshi Pasta, who's on here tonight. All realized, but yeah, Vincent, Zach, Raijin were able to do it without a problem.
Pinello, Raijin, Zach.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of different options. So this is fairly flexible, and definitely if you have Lightning 3-3 already and didn't get her LD, you're going to be fine. So if you're having problems, again, come on the Discord. We'll be able to help you, I think. And again, the worst case scenario, you have to miss a challenge quest, you'll probably survive. But the Lufania, very different. So you face the tyrant and a sword. The sword is the little ad that comes with him. The sword starts with a Lufania orb that counts down 1 turn every time it takes an action. If that orb breaks, it's bad. You don't want it to go off. So you do need to kill the orb. Hold on, I'm going to say a few different things. You do want to kill the orb or kill the sword before the orb hits 0, if that's the strategy you're going to use. If you do kill the orb or the sword that has the orb, the sword disappears. The tyrant, what does it do? It clears all its debuffs, becomes immune to debuffs, and it gets a 10-turn orb, Lufania orb, that if it expires, you basically die. So that orb gets a +2 count every time you do thunder damage. Obviously, lightning, raging. There's some different options. Vincent. There's Dash. There's a lot of different lightning characters in the game. Reno's coming. So that's the way you probably should play it. You should kill the sword first. I'm not even looking at the comments because I played this challenge too. But that's the mechanic they want you to do. They want you to kill the sword, then focus on the thing, and it will rebuff the sword, and then use the orb mechanics, make sure it stays up. You can just ignore the sword completely and kill the tyrant. And you can cheese it with 2 Emotes, bring Emotes in your team, friend Emotes. Lightning takes tons of turns. If you have Lightning's Ldbt, it's super, super easy. You can bring Lightning, Kais, double Noctis. There's a lot of different ways to approach this by just completely ignoring the orb and not worrying about the mechanic at all. I went straight cheese. I don't have Lightning's Burst, but I have Lightning LD, and I brought Kurasame for the damage up, and Emotes, friend Emotes. The bosses didn't get a turn. So, this is a Lufania you can power through if you have the right characters. Desh. Arrow, how did you approach this Lufania?
If you do not have lightning, this Lufania goes from very easy to very difficult. That turn count of 80 turns is ridiculous. You can't bring certain people because the boss constantly is cleansing. And if you probably aren't bringing lightning, you aren't probably able to do a lot of turn like turn delays and deletions enough anyway to at least keep the sword from counting down to 0. So you can't do that whole thing where, where you don't kill the sword the whole fight, and then you don't have to worry about that. But I tried with Machina at first, and that was not happening, guys. I am so sorry. This is so infuriating having to deal with this debuff cleansing crap. I can't wait till we're done with it. But I was just like, you know what? Screw it. We'll just bring out the big boys and win this. So I decided to not worry about lightning, ignore her. And I've seen like a couple of ways to clear this, but I'll get into that. So I did Arden, Kimari, and Desh. So, or a desk, as I don't know which one you're supposed to use. I'm just going to call him Desh because that's what I prefer. So the main thing is, I learned exactly when this orb comes in and out when you kill the sword. So if you kill the sword, the boss will, put up the orb, but it will remove the orb the first time at 70 HP and resummon the sword. And then the next time it does it is at, I believe, 50% HP. And then the last time is at 40% HP. And then at that point, they both are immune to like all status effects. So either way, even if you were to like somehow... you're most likely going to trigger it by that point. If you take some sort of weird team without lightning, you're going to trigger that last orb. You're going to wind up killing that sword probably somehow. And at that point, it's just like, well, you got to worry about debuff immunity. So I don't think the boss is really threatening. I didn't find that to be the problem. The main problem is that you have this big damage race of 80 turns. So you've got to like throw everything in the kitchen sink at it, but at the same time, not run out of ability uses on your main damage dealer. And that's tricky. So I know that Arden's been a very popular pick as a non-synergy option. The other option I have seen, and I'm so glad somebody called the arms did it, is the Gladio Squall duo. So Squall has, with his BT effect, splash damage goes up a bazillion ton. So you have Gladio then countering, and as he's countering, his splash damage has now gone up. And somebody did that method as well to win in the 80 turn count. So those are your non-synergy options that I know of offhand. If you have any other non-synergy options, please do a recording and put it on Call to Arms, because I will watch your video and maybe I'll give you guys a shout out next week. So something to think about.
There are a lot. There are a lot of non-lightning runs. Arden,
Yes.
Ragin, Gladio, Desh, Arden, Amitatillion. I think Belial did Realm, Desh, Afmal. Great run. Somebody brought Laguna with Eve. That's Pallid with Lightning. I just think that's kind of funny. Laguna, Agrius, Lightning. That's just a funny run. Yoshi Pasta did Arden, Leon, Garnet. Yeah, I mean, that's a great run. Edge you can use here. Arden, Edge, Ragin. That's Bartleby did that. So, I mean, there are options. When as Arrow said, if you don't bring Lightning, you got to respect the orb. It's not as, and I think that's going to be the issue here in the next few, what is known or what was known in Japan at this time as Helm Month in Lufania, 3 kind of back-to-back with Reno, Sephiroth, and Kirin Lufanias, all very difficult. And I think the reason they were difficult because they were a lot harder to just come in and stomp through. You actually had to play the mechanics, and some of them, like Reno, has 2 different mechanics. We were talking about it earlier today. 2 very different mechanics that you have to not only deal with the orb, but you have to deal with a specific boss mechanic. And you might be able to just kind of burn through it, synergy stomp it, sure, but it's going to be a lot harder if you don't have those options. So that's what you're speaking to, and there's truth to that. Kreese, I assume you haven't gotten to this one yet, or have you?
Not yet. I'm not quite there. Hopefully in the next day or 2, I'll be able to knock it out.
Riku says one of the reasons those are difficult is because Sephiroth is trash. Well, he's useful on those, that's for sure, with his mechanics. So let's move from that to some host discussion. Kreese, did you want to look and see if there's any questions for us to answer from our host discussion podcast questions? You can always jump on our Discord and ask us questions in Discord. We love to talk about the things you want to talk about. So let us know what we can talk about tonight.
Give me a second. I had looked and checked, and I just gotta pull them back up to take another look. So first question is from Mistleton. This should be a quick one to bang out, because it's something that's been going back and forth, and I'm sure Mino has opinions about this one. Who do you think the second BT character will be? The second BT character Final Fantasy X besides Tidus?
So who's
will
the
it
villain?
be Seymour or will it be Jecht?
I'm still thinking it's got to be Jet. Jet is the representative from not just Dissidia NT, but Dissidia the entire series. But it could be different. But I think it's got to be Jet. Jet needs the BT. Arrow, what do you think?
Okay, so we've noticed in cutscenes how often Jecht shows up. But I think after showing us they were okay printing Ldbt and El Nacherino got the BT instead of Camlanot, I'm going to put in my vote for Seymour.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say that I kind of agree with Arrow too. They've positioned Seymour as the villain for DFFOO, for FF10 stuff. So they're positioning Seymour to be the character most likely to get the BT in this case. They choose a hero and they choose a villain. And it seems likely that that it's going to be Seymour who will get that will get it. Sorry, Mito is trolling in chat.
Yeah, Mito says
and I'm going to ignore that.
Yuna's going to get the BT because she's the villain. So,
oh man.
Yeah, Seymour BT. look for it. Anima. I'd be hyped if that was that would be cool. If he summoned did Pain, that'd be really cool. I'd like that. Rez, I don't think Rez is here anymore. I like Seymour. So.
Well, my turn since it was questions.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I think Yuna is gonna get the. Since you refuse to read this on the podcast, I had to come on myself. I think Yuna is gonna get the second BT. She very easily qualifies as a villain who rips somebody out of the afterlife, revives them from the dead. Okay, look, there's two people that bring people back from the dead: necromancers and very extremely selfish people in horror movies like Pet Sematary. Never ends well. It never ends well. Only evil people bring people back from the dead just because she was horny. This is a guy she fell in love with when she was 16, 17 years old. And, instead of moving on, it's disgusting. Uses her clout to travel the entire world to find a way to rip him out of the afterlife. Zero consent here. And then makes him kick a blitzball bomb. And also, plus, she already has a burst designed in Dissidia 012. So that's, precedence from the old Dissidia games to have a burst.
Okay. That's Mino's opinion.
Thank
There
you
you
for the
go.
question. We'll see. There's Rez.
Okay. Rez isn't thrilled by the prospect of Seymour coming back to haunt her again.
We gonna do a poll battle on that, Resfoina? Seymour burst? Pity, Seymour burst?
How much money would it take to have her do it? That's what I want to know.
I'll pull on anything if you people pay me for it, so. There's nothing I won't pull on. Context,
Okay.
whatever. Clip it. Save that one. All right, next question.
Sure. LaFarle says, Square Enix has announced it will offer a permanent work-from-home program for its employees starting from December 1st. While I'm happy that staff can work from the comfort of home at least 3 days a week, do the hosts think that there could be different expectations for DFFO content from the fan base with this shift? I do not know enough about what this program is or how that will impact the day-to-day workings at Square Enix or how this will affect their mobile division, so I have no real opinion. I mean, it's nice that they now have a permanent work-from-home program.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, you know what? So one of the issues is, hey everybody, Carlio BR from Brazil, I assume, streamer, check him out too. Check them out, I should say.
Mino's saying that the devs are in Singapore
Yeah.
and it's only the Japanese offices that are getting this benefit.
Well, there's been some concern because in Japan, when this all started, there was some delays in content. And so Defo in the Japanese version of the game, not too far from where we are now in our timeline, had some delays. They had some repeated content because of COVID. Will we get that? I don't think so, because all they have to do is kind of translate for us. So the content's already been created. It's already there. They just have to import it over. And that does take time, obviously. But I think that's something that's much easier to do from home than not. We haven't had any delays in content to this point because of COVID. I would not suspect. It will be interesting to see how our timeline changes compared to Japan's timeline because of that delay. If we kind of kick in or kind of upgrade or kind of catch up to them a couple months, which I think they would probably want us to do anyway. There's obviously incentive for the GL community to see how these characters are going to get reworked, what the LD boards are going to be, because people are more likely to pull on them the first time. Look at Squall, look at Sephiroth. Everybody was going to say, oh, skip Sephiroth's garbage. But now he's got his LD boards, and people are like, oh, maybe I should get him now. And so I can use him for Synergy for 2 weeks and then use him again in the future. So, I think I don't think we're going to see any delays. That's my take on it. Arrow, any thoughts about that?
I mean, I don't think it's going to really affect our game too much. I honestly don't know how it would look. It's just hard to say. I don't think too many expectations should change, other than I guess you're working from home. But honestly, I got no opinion beyond that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Next question, Crease.
Okay. The Lucky asks, or Be Lucky asks, sorry, what new skills / kit would you like to see in DFFO? Examples they give are Reflect Brave, Damage / Reflect Damage, Mimic, HP Gravity Shave, etc. The example Mino gives as one he would like is Skill Toss with damage based on how much you've spent on your account. Mark, do you have one?
Yeah, like a new, completely new skill. I mean, yeah, reflect. I mean, that was a big thing in Record Keeper, right? And it's a big thing in Final Fantasy. So the idea that you reflect damage, we do have counters. So I mean, it would kind of be cool to have a black magic kind of character, a magic character that had kind of the ability to reflect on the party, so that they would kind of counter magic attacks. I guess Celeste kind of does that, right? So I mean, a little bit different than that. There was another thing that I was thinking about that would be cool, but it skips my mind at the moment. Arrow, anything come to your mind for a kind of a new skill?
So we have a lot of dragoons in the game, but oddly enough, none of them do jump the way we all think about jump. Like they're gone in the air for some certain amount of time, and then they dish out a bunch of damage. Where's that guy at? Let's get one of those dragoons to have that on their LD ability, where they go up and they're out of battle, but they're still doing some sort of support in the air. So sort of like Freya's trance, where she's throwing down those spears for X amount of turns. That'd just be really cool. I would love something like that on one of our dragoons. That's what my mechanic I'd like to see.
Inkwelder is saying throw weapon ability to dump your 3 and 4 star weapons. What about, I've heard some people talking about, what about a Gilgamesh kind of thing where you have to, throw Gil, like get rid of Gil. Here's 1,000,000 Gil to do 1,000,000 damage. Something like that. Probably would not allow us to do that. We'd all be cheesing every single event. Oh, Crease, any other thoughts? Ideas?
I don't really have any ideas coming to mind that haven't already been mentioned.
Yeah, I want Yuffie LD to steal Lufania orbs. That's all, or Belthier to be able to steal Lufania orbs. Yojimbo, what? I said Gilgamesh. Yeah, Yojimbo. The guy that you pay money for, he does damage. Yojimbo, thank you, Dress. I do thank you, Chris and Dress. I do mean Yojimbo. Yeah, not Gilgamesh. I had Gilgamesh on the mind from Gladio DLC. So yeah, pay gems to one-shot the fight. That would be great. That's probably what it would be, pay to win. Yeah, 100 gems, you win. That's it. We'd all be. It's really easy. Content's really easy. All right, next question.
Shaded Mystic asks, when do the hosts think they will do a free LD selector like they've done for the EXs?
Okay, well, hey, we got to do it this way. Never. We'll never get that in Japan. We'll never, ever get that if Joshua's listening. The Crystal Chronicle says we'll never get an LD select or an LD shop. Wink, wink. So if you guys want to get that going for your next announcement, please. I was just hoping it worked in like the ticket multis that we might get one next week. Now, Chris, what do you think about an LD shop?
I don't know. They're still missing a bunch of LDs on characters in Japan, so it seems like it's something that once they get all of the main characters, the main roster characters with LD weapons and LD calls, I think that's when they'll introduce it, because there's still main characters that are missing LD weapons. Like Eunice doesn't have an LD, Tita still doesn't have an LD. So I think once all those main heroes have them, then they'll start considering it. Until then, I would not about it.
Arrow, any thoughts about an LD shop?
I was kind of kidding around earlier in chat today on Discord that they will have an LD shop maybe eventually. It'll be like that EX protagonist shop though. So you can only buy the LDs for characters who have BTs as well. That's my guess. If I were to just release one kind of at first, that's kind of what they did with EXs, if I remember right. They had a little shop, but it was only for protagonists. So maybe there will be a future shop at maybe the next anniversary where you could buy maybe one of the LDs that have been released for a protagonist with a BT. That's my hope for Japan.
Yeah, I would.
Of course, too.
I would think we might see, like earlier than later, we might see an LD shop for protagonists for like a, Abyss Transcendence or whatever new content, to have like a one-time thing where you can pick up an LD maybe you missed for a burst character. But then, as Mino's saying in chat, that we likely won't see an LD shop until we get the next tier of weapon, whatever the next tier is. So, yeah.
Mino, you're already on voice.
Drez64 says, do you guys think they'll go back to 2 new characters a month once COVID is over? This is a question I see brought up a fuck ton, and I don't know why. Guys, they didn't slow to 1 character every 1.5 months because of COVID. That was always the plan. They didn't invent all these motherfucking modes to erase them once COVID is gone. They didn't invent 6 boss rushes, 6-man co-ops and raids and all these new things because of that. Look, eventually character releases slow down. Anyone who's played any long-term game has seen this. In MMOs, class releases slow down. In like MOBAs, champion releases slow down. If you look at like FFRK or FFBE, FFRK is only releasing 8 characters a year now. In the beginning, they released like 30 a year. Character releases slow down. They have to. Otherwise, you dilute all the unique kits and the characters just aren't special. It's easier to sell you a new tier of fucking weapon for the 140 existing characters and balance around them than keep inventing new kits. Otherwise, what's the point? Then with 250 characters like FFRK, you start breaking them into shittier niches. In FFRK, you need to build around a single element now. You need an entire team of thunder damage or an entire team of dark damage to do endgame content. Do you want that? Do you want your favorite character to just become, hey, the FF4 synergy lightning damage dealer or something like Kane is, or the FF8 ice damage dealer that Idea is in FFRK? Character releases had to slow down eventually. We're at that point now. You have to accept that we're not getting 24 characters a year anymore. It's not fucking happening. All right, I'm muting myself again.
Yeah, no, there is new types of content that we're going to be getting, and GL already has additional types of content that the Japanese version doesn't have, like Abyss. So you basically still see six events a month, but you're not going to see 2. Like right now, we're doing 2 events: HaateXIII raid, 2 event characters, new characters, 2 lost chapters, 6 events. Moving forward, it's going to be 1 character, 2 lost chapters, HaateXIII, 6-man co-ops, raid, boss rush. That's the one I was trying to think, boss rush. So there's, I don't think we're going to see, like Mino said, that moving forward. Yeah, Kreese, couple other questions. We have a little bit of time.
I think we kind of answered Ink's question, but I'm just going to repeat it just to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
Ink asks, who is actually the most important character for the raid challenge quest? So I think we kind of already addressed this, right?
Vincent.
Okay, but seriously.
Oh, the challenge quest.
The raid challenge quest, it's more like lightning makes it easier, but she isn't mandatory because there's a decent number of clears that do use someone other than lightning.
Yeah,
Zach Pinello. There have been some clears with Raijin instead of lightning. So it is I think Zach makes this safer in cases where you do not have lightning.
Yes. That is for sure. Zach does help in the challenge quest, not in the
the challenge quest specifically.
But yeah, I agree. Ink says, is this the least restrictive one we've had? It's one of the least restrictive, I think. I mean, just looking at the call to arms, there is a pretty good variety between the 6 characters, all 6 of them used. I mean, that's one thing that's interesting, right? You don't usually see all 6 of them used in that many unique combinations.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I think it's I think Vincent is the weak link. Unfortunately, and I love Vincent, but he does debuff really well. So I mean, if you're trying to do really defensive, you can bring Vincent and bring some other. But yeah, Rage and Zach, as Boogeyman saying, pair up really well. Pinello helps. Obviously, still does a lot of good stuff. And they all have their character boards. So yeah, Arrow. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to say after Lightning, Pinello is probably the next most important character, and it has nothing to do with the healing. She's like the only one I think that batteries like the party. So
that's a good point.
Well, Edge kind of can, but I feel like Pinello is like the next one because she heals on top of that, so you can take HP hits, not have to worry about not meeting HP requirement. But she is great because of making it a lot easier without having to really try too hard.
Well, I guess Raijin also heals.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking more like for the red bar attack, the recast skill. So she makes it very easy. You just go Brave Plus, or you just use one of her skills and pass, and it makes it really nice. So I feel like she helps a lot, and also on top of that, she has a lot of free turns. So you're not really adding to the already generous turn count of 110 turns. You're not really adding any more to it on top of it.
Okay.
Yeah, do you want to do one or two more, Kreese?
We'll do one more question.
Perfect.
I guess. Anaheim asks, and this is a technical question, so this one is worth answering right now. Is there a functional difference between Max Brave and Advance, the stat that allows you to gain Brave past your Max Brave? So this technical question is basically asking for, I think what Anaheim is asking is how Brave Overflow interacts with Max Brave, I think. And for a basic technical interaction is that Brave Overflow and Max Brave kind of synergize with one another, where an increase to one makes the other better. Because the more Max Brave you have, any marginal increase in Brave Overflow becomes basically better, and any marginal increase you get to Brave Overflow is better based on your Max Brave. Because remember that it's a % increase based on your Max Brave, any Brave Overflow you have. So if you have 120% Max Brave Overflow, then that will be. And sorry, I got distracted by chat for a second. If you have 120% Max Brave Overflow, which was a generally basic thing early on, what would happen is that if your Max Brave was 50,000 Max Brave, you could get to 50. You get to 60,000 Max Brave, I think if my math's correct. Which is a pretty nice increase. Now, if you were at 60,000 Max Brave, then you could get to 72,000 Max Brave, which again, it's 2,000 more Brave, just because you increase your Max Brave. So that's the sort of synergistic factor I'm talking about. And if you increased your Brave Overflow by 10% instead of increasing your Max Brave by 10,000, it would be a. I'm not doing math right now, but again, the way it works is just that it synergizes. Basically, you want to increase one stat. Basically, increasing one stat improves its interaction with the other stat. So both are good, is the best way to put it.
Yes. Correct. Yeah. Good. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. This has been episode 130 of the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast. Looking ahead next week on the 7th Camelonauts LC Ambition for Provenance, as we stream next week Reno's event, The Red-Headed Turk, and then the week after Heretic Quests, which is Sephiroth, Dimensions and Entropy Tier 18. Kieran on the 22nd, Rude on the 24th, and potentially a Squex community stream, or at least an update before the end of this year. Well, please, tccpodcast.com for all your links to all those good things. Join our Discord, Facebook, Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. I have been sharing some extra YouTube videos here and there and everywhere. And, of course, if you like to listen to us on podcasts, I've been doing the podcast still. That's what we are, after all, a podcast, and sharing some extra stuff on the podcast as well. We have some fun little extra videos from Mino. I've been doing a little extra video here and there as well. So do check out our YouTube, and some of those are nice. Thank you, Chef Knife, for the cheers. Appreciate it. I have links to all of our friends. Check out Arrow, Crease, Mino, but everybody. We had Resfoina here, and we had Inkwelder from the Tonberry Troupe, and Macnol to CityInfo.com, and we talked about Quetzalma. Ryan is the Bomb 203, who does our wonderful intro music. Jin Lee, who does all our background. Strafe was here on YouTube. Dreamy does our intro videos. HaateXIII does our intro narration. J.Dada, J.A, or J.Doda, Quetz, part of our team as well. Black Nero was here. Check out him. Resfoina was here, if I didn't say that. Ricky Shu was here, helps us with the TCC Challenge. Teleute, Faye Novus, shout them out, part of the Tonberry Troupe. And all of you, our wonderful community. It has been a joy to hang out with a couple hundred of you tonight, and it's a joy to know that all of you are listening throughout the week. Until next week, I hope you didn't have to pity Lightning's burst, but if you did, I hope you're enjoying every second of it. We'll see you all next week. Good luck on your Camelonaut pulls. Those 3 people who are pulling. Goodbye, friends.